I figured you'd find a way to do something to aggravate me. Okay. No, I'm gonna. Okay. Good evening and Happy New Year. I call this meeting of the Duncanville Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. We will now move into the opening ceremonies, and I ask Mr. Tom Kennedy to lead our invocation.
Stand, please. Bow your heads with me. Dear God, we thank you for this opportunity to meet as a board and to provide guidance and direction for our district. We thank you for the administrators and teachers and everyone that works in this district, because they all do just a fantastic job. We ask you to bless the students as they prepare for the testing coming up this spring, that they'll be prepared for it and be able to do the very best that they can. We just ask you to be with us all and guide us and keep us safe. We ask these things in thy name. Amen.
Thank you. Now would the students from Kennemer Middle School join us and lead our pledges?
Good evening to our Madam President in her absence, Dr. Smith, and the Board of Trustees. I would like to thank you for this opportunity to allow our students to come out and present. So I just wanted to take a few minutes to introduce the students that we have who will be presenting to you this afternoon. We have Mr. Andrew Tyree and Ms. Giada Engel.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you for being here tonight. Good job. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you, young lady. You did a great job.
We will now welcome Ms. Richard for our recognitions.
Good evening, Madam President, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Smith. Thank you so much. As always, we usually do our Made with Pride and recognition on a monthly basis here at the board meeting. And so this month, we have a special group that we're recognizing for Made with Pride. And so I'll just let the video speak for itself and then follow it up with some students who will come forward and talk about each of our honorees. So we'll start with the video.
As part of School Board Recognition Month, Duncanville ISD honors our Board of Trustees who are made with pride in Duncanville. We thank Carla Fahey, Tom Kennedy, Phil McNeely, Renee McNeely, Cassandra Phillips, Janice Savage Martin, and Joe Vera Cruz Jr. for volunteering their time and service to our students, staff, and teachers. From the boardroom to the classroom, their leadership has made a large impact on the growth and success of the district. These trustees are truly made with pride in Duncanville.
Ms. Fahey, thank you for being a tireless advocate for us. I have been told that you have a very big heart and a great sense of humor, and you don't spare either in your many volunteer roles. In addition to serving as a school district board trustee, you're also very active with our PTAs, and you are a member of the Duncanville ISD Education Foundation Board. The Education Foundation has a long legacy of providing grants to teachers so they're able to bring innovative and out-of-the-box ideas to the classroom. Just this last year alone, the foundation gave teachers almost $40,000 thanks to you. We have robots, tablets, and so much more. And who knows what grants will provide teachers next year. Thank you.
Thank you. How sweet.
All right. Mr. Kennedy, thank you for being a dedicated leader for so many years. I'm told if we combine all of your years of service as a trustee, totaling 21 years, you are believed to be the longest-serving board member in the district's history. You've made good use of your time. Just last year, you earned the title of Master Trustee after completing a year-long leadership program through the Texas Association of School Boards. You are committed to giving our classrooms and us kids the better opportunity to succeed. That means supporting programs to help prepare us for life. Because of your fellow board members, this year we have STEAM Academy at Kennemer Middle School. Thank you, Mr. Kennedy.
Mr. McNeely, thank you for being a person our teachers know that they can turn to for advice and guidance. You are a champion for teachers and you know what it takes to do the job well. So when you see teachers who truly love their role in shaping young minds, you celebrate them. As a championship coach, you know what it takes to be successful. One part of that is instilling pride in your team. You ask teachers to do that for their students, for them to take pride in seeing students succeed. Pride in a district that hires top-notch teachers. Pride in Duncanville. Because of you and the other board members, we can say all that we are made with pride in Duncanville. Thank you.
Ms. McNeely, thanks to your passion for students, we have made tremendous growth in our early education programs. You understand the importance of providing students with a solid foundation to begin their education and have fought to increase the rigor and availability to pre-kindergarten programs here. In your role on the school board, you have been a vocal advocate for our youngest students and teachers who educate them. Over the past 2 years, the early education program has grown and expanded to include both fully day classes and tuition-based programs. Thanks to you, the word is getting out to parents to see the benefit of what we offer their babies. Thank you.
Mrs. Savage Martin, thank you for your leadership on this school board. In your role as school board president, you have shared your knowledge and provided a clear direction for the district's priorities. Under your leadership, the school board has focused, resourceful, and action-oriented. You have empowered others on the board and school leaders, encouraging them to give their all to a school district I know you love. This is where you learn your own life lessons and earn a diploma. As a Duncanville High School graduate, you have been where I am now. Thank you for showing me and other students what we can achieve if we give our all. Thank you.
Ms. Phillips, thank you for your commitment to service and organizing opportunities for others to support students in the school district. You have a gift for seeing a need and bringing people together for a common good. As winter weather began, you noticed that we had students with no coats and no way of getting coats. So you worked with your fellow board members to organize a coat drive for students. You went to businesses and asked them to participate by either setting up donation boxes or advertising their coat drive. Some donated money for the purchase of coats. Before students went home for winter break, more than 100 students were gifted new coats thanks to the hard work of you and your fellow board members. Thank you.
Mr. Veracruz, you are one of those board members who seems to be everywhere. You'll be in your fire department uniform at schools, donuts with dads in the morning, and later spotted at a PAT mini. And you are not usually alone. You You are usually with your fellow firefighters, join you at various school events. If not with your firefighters, you are then with your wife and daughter, and they're always there with you. Mr. Veracruz, you know just how important it means to show up, to be present. Your visibility means a lot to students, teachers, and staff. Thank you for always being there.
Thank you, students. That was very sweet and very personal, and probably a little bit of research, and we're very grateful to you, and we should be thanking you for being such good kiddos and administrators and giving us the blessings to help you. Ms. Richard.
Just wanted to say that this was our students from Kennemer. They came forward and they really did appreciate the opportunity to learn more about you and also share some of the great things that you do throughout the district. So in honor and recognition of Board Recognition Month, which every January we celebrate you, thank you.
Thank you. And now we have good news from Dr. Smith. It's time for his report.
Well, thank you.
I hope it's good news.
Always good
Okay.
news, always good news. Thank you, Madam Vice President. Before I share my reports, I also just want to recognize each of you. I appreciate your commitment that you provide for the district, always willing to give your personal time, make sacrifices for family, to be here and supporting what we're doing in the district, and certainly don't take that for granted. I've had the opportunity to work with a couple of school boards now during my time as superintendent, and I can tell you that you are true champions as it relates to supporting a superintendent, understanding the collaboration and the work that must be done together as a team in order to move the district forward. And I am very fortunate and appreciative of being a part of this team. And so I hope I tell you more than just this 1 month a year, but I really do appreciate you, and thank you for all you do to support the Duncanville ISD and also to support me. So thank you. I appreciate that. I do have just a few updates from across the district as we have really just kind of started back from our Christmas break. I do want to start with sharing some good news with you about our football team and Coach Samples. Coach Samples was nominated for the NFL Don Shula High School Coach of the Year. He was one of 32 nominees for the national recognition, and each honoree is chosen for their character, integrity, leadership, dedication to the community, commitment to player health and safety, and on-field success. And so the selected Coach of the Year will be announced at the Pro Bowl on January 27th. In addition to that, he also received Coach of the Year award from the Dallas Morning News. And a young man there, Tristan Smith, also received Newcomer of the Year. And so we just want to congratulate them for a great season. We'll be recognizing the entire coaching staff and football team at next month's board meeting. But wanted to share this good news with you as it relates to Coach Samples, and very, very well deserving. In addition to that, we just found out just a little, not too long ago, that all 6 of our students who competed in the area competition in choir, they all advanced to state. And so we are very proud of them, very proud of their the work that they're doing. Paul Beatty, Aiden Benson, Nicholas Jones, Matthew Merritt, Ryan Smith, and Evelyn Ontiveros are the students that we're recognizing today. And so we want to wish them luck on their journey to state, and just want to appreciate the road that they took to get there. They've really done a good job. We've seen a lot of their work before they've sung national anthems at football games, and so they were a YouTube sensation as well. And so we're really excited about the work that they're doing in their choir program. In addition to choir, we have some students that are performing outstanding with band. They made the All-State Band. Francisco Rubio, English horn, was ranked #1 in Texas. Michael Manns, bassoon. Nathan Trio, the alto saxophone. And Jamie Salas, the tenor trombone. And so all 4 band members advanced to state. Well, they'll have one more audition in order to receive a ranking. And so we're really, again, just proud of their efforts. And it's really good to be able to highlight a lot of different activities and programs that our students are involved in. The last thing, a couple of things, 1 or 2 things I have left for you. At Pace High School last week, we had a graduation ceremony. And so Pace High School graduated their 2nd class of this school year. And so we had 13 graduates that proudly walked across the stage to accept their high school diploma and had a lot of plans about their future. And we believe they're going to have a great future and making them. We're proud of the commitment that they displayed to stick to it and to get their high school diploma through the Pace High School program. And then lastly, we do have a 3-day weekend coming up. It's MLK Day, and so we will be celebrating at several of our campuses and all throughout the district, celebrating MLK Day. And we're just really looking forward to participating. You'll see a lot of social media activity also associated with that. But we'll be closing out this week with a 3-day weekend, and we'll be transitioning, ready for the push to end the school year. And so those are the reports that I have for you this evening. Madam Vice President, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. We will now have a public hearing. To conduct this public hearing, it allows for public participation in the discussion of the Texas Academic Performance Report, or known as TAPR, presented by Kathy Sewell.
Good evening, Madam Vice President and members of the Board of Trustees, and Dr. Smith. Thank you for this opportunity to present to you a public hearing regarding the performance of Duncanville ISD. And here to assist me with this public hearing is Ms. Stephanie Bonneau, our Executive Director of Assessment and Accountability. She'll report to you regarding our students' performance data, as well as other required elements that need to be covered for our district annual report as required by state statute. So I'll turn it over to Ms. Bonneau.
Board of Trustees, Dr. Smith, thank you so much for listening to me this evening. I am here to present the 2017-18 annual report. It is required by the Texas Education Code. It's required that every district's Board of Trustees publish an annual report. It has 6 elements that are required. You have the Texas Academics Performance Report, or the TAPR report, the Campus Performance Objectives, the Student Performance in Post-Secondary Institution, the PEIMS Financial Standards Report, the Report of Violent or Criminal Incidents, and the 2017-18 Accreditation Status. As a reminder, all of the information in this is public information. It's also, when we're finished here, will be posted on our district websites required by the state. All of the information in the report is from the 2017-18 school year, with the exception of the information that deals with graduates and college entrance, and that's actually from our 16-17 graduates. Okay, so the first slide that you see here is our ratings from this past year. Our district rated as a C. We had 13 campuses that met the standard for the state, 3 that were improvement required, and our summit met the alternative, PACE met the alternative standard. We had 10 distinctions on 6 campuses. Brandenburg earned 4 distinctions. That's 2 more than they earned last year. They added math and closing the achievement gap. DHS had their first distinction, and it was in post-secondary readiness. This was due to their 4-year graduation rate and their number of students that completed a CTE coherent sequence. Byrd had 2 distinctions, student progress and closing gaps. Both of those are ones that they also accomplished last year, so they're showing consistency there. Central, Bill Hartz, and Hardin had 1 apiece. Central had 1 in progress, progress for student progress. Bill Hartz was closing gaps, and Hardin had 1 in reading. The chart you see here is our 2017-18 STAAR data as posted on TAPR. This is all of the district combined. In all subjects, we had an increase at approaches to 67%. And then in reading, we had an increase at approaches to 65%, which included an increase in our reading scores in 4th grade, 5th grade, 7th grade, English 1, and English 2. When you look at our 5th and 7th grade reading scores, we actually improved by 8 and 9% respectively in the meets, which is at grade level. So we had significant gains there. English 1, we improved by 8% at approaches, and English 2, we improved by 5% at meets. In math, we had an overall gain of 2% when you look at the whole district to 70%. That's including an increase in 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th and 8th, and Algebra 1. 8th grade improved by 18% at meets. An 18% jump in 1 year is a significant gain. In writing, the district dropped a little bit, 1%, to 56% at approaches, but increased by 3% at meets, which is at grade level. So we had some success with some more of our students. In science, we had an increase in 5th grade of 8%, and overall for all of our science subjects, we were up 3% to 73%. In social studies, we had gains of 1% in all 3 categories of approaches, meets, and masters. The campus performance objectives, our campus improvement plans or CIP plans are written on campuses by the campus improvement team. Dr. Lamb spoke to you in the November board meeting about how our CIPs are written. The plan is directly related to the district improvement plan, which has our 5 achievement goals. These are posted on each campus's website and monitored throughout the year to check for a performance in the achievement of the goals. The Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board publishes the number of students who enroll in 2- and 4-year universities every year. We had an increase in both 2- and 4-year enrollment. We're up 7% in total college enrollment from last year. We had 65% of our students who graduated enroll in a 2- or 4-year university. And 51% of our 4-year university freshmen that completed the year, their GPA was at a 2.5 or higher. The PEIMS Financial Standard Report is found in detail online, and there's a link in the presentation for you. It contains all of our receipts, fund balances, disbursements, program expenditures, tax rates, the 2016 tax year state certified property values, unassigned fund unassigned fund balance, which is the percent of total budgeted expenditures, as reported by the district. In our ratings in 2017-18 district accreditation statuses, our first rating is in superior, accountability rating is met standard, accreditation status is accredited. There's another slide. Can someone click it? Not watching. Yeah, whoever has can you click it, please? It's not, there we go. It's really not working. Just going to set it there. This is the last slide, or almost the last slide, so I guess if it was going to stop, now's the time. So the last piece that is reported is our violent and criminal incidents. Some of the things that Duncanville ISD does to promote safe campuses, we have PBIS, which is Positive Behavior Interventions and Support, which helps our teachers to understand how to put systems in place to support our kiddos. We use CHAMPS. We have Why Try, social skills and guidance lessons, and Early Act First Night, which is sponsored by the Duncanville Rotary Club. So you can see our chart there for violent and criminal offenses. We had 1 used, exhibited, or possessed an illegal knife, 42 assaults under the penal code, 4 aggravated assaults on a student, and 5 felony controlled substance violations. And the next slide asks you if you have any questions. Anybody have any questions? Alrighty, well, I appreciate your time, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any public comments on the TAPR report? Thank you, Ms. Sewell and Ms. Bonneau. This concludes our public hearing. We will now move to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Madam Vice President, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented with the exception of adding from the action agenda items 7A and 7B.
Thank you. Tom Kennedy has made the motion to have action items 7A and 7B moved to the consent agenda, and Board Member Renee McNeely has seconded. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion passed 4-0. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Tom Kennedy has moved and Board Member Renee McNeely has seconded. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion passed 4-0. I think we get to move through hundreds of pages and ready for Dr. Smith's report for the resolution for our upcoming legislative session.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Vice President. I'm going to call Miss Melissa Cates up. So as you know, we started this session, and what we've wanted to do is to work with our board to develop what our priorities are for this legislative session. And so today is really more along the lines of a first reading to give you an opportunity to hear our priorities, and then you may want to add, you may want to delete. You just give us feedback on whether or not you like what we've established, and then at next month's board meeting, we will approve our legislative priorities. And so I've asked Ms. Cates to kind of review that information with you.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Vice President, Dr. Smith, members of the board. You have before you the Duncanville ISD 2019 legislative priorities, and as Dr. Smith just mentioned, the legislative session started last Tuesday on January 8th, and I'm going to go through all of these legislative priorities before you, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. The first one is the assessment and accountability piece, and we're advocating to go beyond the high-stakes testing of the STAAR and start promoting college and career readiness. The intent behind this is to allow communities to start deciding more about what's important to them and not use the testing and the high-stakes testing to rate the schools. In addition to that, this says to get rid of the A through F accountability system, which is not in favor of low socioeconomic districts. The second piece we have in there is school safety, and the board has already shown that the importance of school safety by starting our new police department, and part of this priority list advocates for additional funding that would come from the state to be used in the district, but we're also asking for the ability for the district to decide how those funds are used instead of having the state dictate to us how that funding would have to be used and for what different projects. The next piece is the school finance, and if it's very detailed, we may have to get Dr. Bigby to answer that. But the whole school finance system, in our opinion, needs to be revamped. And essentially, what we're asking and advocating for here is just to update the school finance system, and with the Foundation School Program, which is FSP, which increases the state, we want them to increase the state share of FSP. And what FSP is, it's the source of state funding for schools. So we're asking the state to increase the state portion of our funding. Right now, as the state is only contributing 38% in 2019 is the plan. So we want them to increase the state share instead of most of those funds coming from the local community. And part of that is, as you've heard from many different sources, as the local taxes go up, then the state funding goes down. So that's what the intent of this provision is. The next one that we have on the list is the property value growth. And this advocates for, as the property taxes and property values rise, for that money to be maintained with the school districts instead of using it, the state using it to lower the amount that they provide to schools. And look more at the formula system to better provide for what our students need and the districts need. Next on our list is a TRS, and this is multifaceted. And number one, the TRS, make sure that we continue that defined pension program. As you all are aware, the pension program allows for retired employees to get a set amount every month. And so some people have advocated to change it to a different type of retirement. We're advocating to keep the defined pension program, but in addition to that, for the TRS, also the active care. So what that entails is not only the active care for our current employees, but active care for our retired employees as well. That we make sure that the state needs to start putting more back into how much of the healthcare. Healthcare continues to rise, and to help offset those costs for not only current employees, but for retired employees. Next on our list, we have pre-K funding. Currently, the state only funds half-day pre-K for qualified individuals. The research has shown over and over again the importance of early childhood education, and full-day pre-K is critical for our students to learn. So we're advocating for the state to fund, go from a half-day to a full day. It would be best for them to fund for all students in Texas to have the full day, but at least for the students that qualify currently for a half day, for the state to pay for the full day program for those students. Then we have charter schools, and really what we're saying in this is if charter schools are going to get money, then they should have to have the same rules that we do, that traditional school districts do, which means financial transparency, data collection, all the things that the state requires traditional school districts to do. Charter schools should have to do that as well if they're going to receive state funding. And then finally on the list, this one's really new, and when we were putting the list together, it was really amazing how many districts and advocacy groups and different people around the state have really started to add the mental and behavioral health services network, and what we need to do for our students moving forward to help with all the mental issues. Again, research is showing that there's so much that goes into what our students need, but we need funding and we need help and we need community services. So the priorities that we have on here advocate for looking for more ways to fund that, but also help with community partnerships. So those are the lists that we're proposing to you all, and I'll be happy to answer any questions if I can. Yes.
I don't have any questions, but I'd like to add adamantly oppose A through F campus and grading, just so that they don't think we just oppose it. You know, we're just totally 100% against it, because
I'm sorry that
it's not fair to our district or to any other district, as you said, with low socioeconomic kids. We'll never win the way it's structured. And the other thing under school finance, I'd like for us to consider adding a statement to being opposed to any school funding that's tied to test results, because that's not fair to us either. I mean, there's plenty of articles written. I was trying to find one just now to quote about showing how all the higher socioeconomic schools would get all the money even with that. And it's just not right. They can't keep pushing us down because of the kids we educate. Our kids are as good as anybody's kids, and they deserve every chance that any other kid gets. So I just think we need to put something in the language there so they know that as a district, we're just against those things. I mean, I want teachers to make more money, don't get me wrong, but I don't want them to do it on the backs of our kids and not being able to perform. Because I don't see how it can be fair to a teacher anyway. If you take a class that has 25 kids in it, if the 12 of them come from homes that don't have that support, they're never going to get there anyway, probably. And I don't mean that the way it sounds, but they could get there, but the chances are less for them to be able to do it. So it's just not fair. I'd rather see us figure out a way to pay teachers more money with state funding and to take care of them, because they deserve it a whole lot more than other things do, I think. So.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? Thank you, Ms. Cates. We now move to information agenda item B, review of federal funds for 2017-2018 and update for 2018-2019, presented by Kathy Sewell.
Thank you, Madam Vice President, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Smith. Okay, I was making sure the clicker was on point. Thank you for the time for me to briefly go over with you at this midpoint of the year information regarding our federal programs through ESSA. And as you all know, our federal funds are tied to our economically disadvantaged numbers, as well as providing a source of supplemental funding for students who have the highest educational need. And when I talk about supplemental funding, these funds are designed to supplement, be above and beyond what our state and local funds provide. And so these are great funds for opportunities to help equalize and provide equity for our students to close achievement gaps. So our first fund that I would like to focus on is Title I, Part A. These funds are allocated to our elementary, intermediate, and middle schools. We've done a 3-year comparison here for you to preview, and I wanted to focus on our 2018 and 2019 activities so you know where these funds primarily are being spent. That is for reading and math support staff at the campus level, our early childhood support staff and materials, and accelerated education. And accelerated education means tutorials, intervention sessions, pull-out groups for small group instruction either during the day, extended day after school, Saturday school, and in some cases extended year programming. Also our family engagement staff. As you all are aware, we did family engagement as a presentation at our last board meeting, and the funds for parental involvement and to increase parental engagement are funded through our Title I program as well. Our next area of ESSA is Title II. Title II is designed, this funding is designed to create conditions to recruit highly qualified staff, as well as continue training opportunities to increase the quality of your staff through professional development. And in that funding mechanism, the idea is through high quality professional development and recruitment that students get the best education that they can through these supplemental funds to recruit and retain these high quality staff members. Our 2018-2019 activities are related to our content facilitators. We have 3 in the district. One is for English language arts and reading, another is for math, and we have a content facilitator for science. We also have a lot of funding that goes for professional learning communities training. We've brought this to you all in previous board reports, and we contract with Solution Tree to help provide that training for us and for our campus teams. We also have a professional relationship with Lead Forward, and we utilize their training Lead Forward is an organization that provides training not only for teachers to understand the content level of the Texas essential knowledge and skills, but also Lead Forward provides all of these activities to align engaging, interesting instructional classroom activities with the TEKs that are required by state law. So it's just really great training, and it helps our teachers engage more with students and makes learning more interesting. And the last big initiative that we have under Title II is STEAM certification training. I think we heard from some of our STEAM Academy students earlier this evening, and the funds for professional development are going for STEAM teachers. They are all involved and engaged and enrolled in an online professional development certification for them to all be STEAM level certified, so that the Academy will have an industry standard of certification for STEAM. Versus just calling it a STEAM Academy, they're going to have a level of certification through our high-quality professional development funding. Title III is to ensure English language learners develop English proficiency and meet academic standards. We've got our funding here for the last 3 years, and you've got a little asterisk there under 17-18. We did get one standalone annual grant for $13,660, and this was because we had a spike in percentage of enrollment from one year to the next, and depending on the federal formula funds, sometimes they will identify those spikes in percentages and say, okay, they've got more immigrants this year, so we're going to give them these special funds for that specific population. So some school districts get those based upon those enrollment increases year to year. Our big activities for these funds are our dual language materials and resources. These are classroom resources, lots of hands-on manipulative activities in Spanish and English to really promote the dual language program, as well as materials and resources to support English language learners in all grade levels, intermediate and secondary. Professional development also for teachers, for teaching students not only in elementary but in secondary, and reading materials that help contribute to classroom libraries for these students. Then Title IV is supplemental support to provide students with a well-rounded education, to support healthy and safe students, and to support the effective use of technology. So Title IV is a new fund. As you can see in 16-17, we did not have any federal funding in this category, and in 17-18, the formula provided $66,342, and then the U.S. Department of Education was allocated a higher level of increased funding for this year. So we are allocating this funding toward early childhood instructional materials, as you all heard from Ms. Cates about our pre-K program and the value that Dr. Smith and the board places upon our earliest learners. This is essential for us to build this program because we've expanded it in the last year. We're also funding STEM scopes for science to improve our science instruction at all grade levels, for math and language arts materials, and then also to explore and allocate funds for safety and security supplemental resources. Okay, Title I school improvement grants. As you can see, again, federal allocations are for schools that have the highest need based upon achievement gaps in reading and math only. And so in 16-17, there were title categorized schools that were priority and focus, and those schools received funding at the levels that were distributed there. And then in 17-18, we had 2 schools that were focus schools, federally funded focus school grants. And then this year, the funding is strictly for the IR campuses, the 3 that we've referenced in previous board meetings. And so this year, what we're using the funding for are reading, math, and writing materials at all 3 of our IR schools. And specifically, we're spending a lot of resources for instructional coaching. We have coaches for reading, we have coaches for writing instruction, for revising and editing, and for improving the writing process, as well as a math consultant that's working with these 3 schools. And the consultants are coming, if not weekly, monthly, bi-monthly. So we've got a lot of activity and a lot of support through instructional coaching. And additionally, one of our other areas that the campuses are using funds to have at their campuses is for supplemental technology. You all probably remember approving the Google, not Google, the Chromebooks for their classrooms for additional support for Achieve 3000. And then our Carl D. Perkins grant, we've got our 3-year funding templates there. And for Carl D. Perkins, we really use a lot of this money for our certification. And we have a lot of certification programs. And so for the students to take those exams and to pass those certifications, it costs money. And so Perkins is available to our students in our career technical education classes to be able to test, receive those certifications, and be career ready when they graduate from Duncanville High School. We're also spending money in this category for our Certified Nursing Assistant program, for graphic design materials, for Career Cruising, which is an online career exploration program for our students so that they can match their interests with a career pathway, for some summer learning camps, culinary materials, and for also evaluation services for our career technical program. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, comments? Thank you, Ms. Sewell.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, trustees.
We now move to the information agenda, item C, the 2019-2020 budget development timeline, presented by Dr. Ed Bigby.
Good evening. Any questions? Let's make it quick.
Ready to go for another year.
Just quickly go over the budget timeline with you. In your book and on the screen, the items that are in the bold print are board meetings. We don't have anything scheduled during this for a workshop, which will probably take place anyway, but it's not here with the men and women in Austin. Now, there's no telling what they'll do when we get through with all this. They've all jumped out and said they were going to support fixing school finance, and I just hope they quit helping us, because it's really not helped much. But as we're going to go through the budget process as if it was going to remain the same, and then we'll adjust it as we go along. A couple of important dates is January 31st, we received the comptroller's values, which, as you know, the state stays 1 year behind us. So when those values come in, we can start projecting what our revenue will be for next year. But theirs is always up and down. As our values went up 10.5%, they'll go up anywhere from 5 to 15. So we won't really know until those come in, and they're typically on the 31st. So we'll be able to start looking at some revenue figures after that. I plan on doing the same as we did last year, go to each campus, sit down with the principals, and it's not only a good time to talk about their allocation for the next year, but also anything going on in the business office they might have a concern or can help us with. So those are good times. We'll also discuss it in SLT. If you remember last year, we made a combined list of budget needs that amounted to about $12 million. We'll go back and look through that. Are they still relevant? Are there still things we need to do? And do we need to add to that list? So we'll be preparing that in SLT. See if I can get this to go the right way. Once again, the bold print is when we'll be bringing to you in board meetings. The 10th of April, we'll actually receive the preliminary values from the Dallas County Appraisal District. So if the funding system doesn't change, it'll give us a real good idea of where our revenue will be next year. Of course, this year we don't have to deal with a TRE election. That'll just carries over from year to year, so that'll help us better to establish our budget early on. I've broken this into the way we did it last year, having a budget hearing in one time and a tax rate hearing at a separate time. Those had to take place because of the TRE, but they actually can be done at the same time. So if you choose to, you have to adopt the budget first, but you can do it at the same meeting, so it can only be posted one time, and it can be done then. And that's quickly the calendar we plan on following. Of course, it's a very loose and apt to change as the people in Austin tend to change things. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments for Dr. Bibby? Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any communications from citizens? There will be none. I would like to communicate once more. Thank you so much for your special recognition to us. You make us feel so special. And for the 3 trustees who are not present tonight, let's take a picture of that and let's send it to them.
We're taking it home.
Because we're going to flip, and all of us get to take 2 home except for one of us, so we'll have a flip after this. But we do appreciate you, and we thank you so much for your support and for all the ARMS principles that Dr. Smith broke to get all of our goodies up here. We said get well wishes to them. And keep some of our board members who are not present here in your prayers. Trustee Joe Veracruz buried his father today. And you know we're always here if we can be. So some need special prayers. So anyway, I'm thankful for you guys, and thank you so much for the special recognition tonight. With no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.